Unless you have 𝗰𝗵𝗲𝗁 or total color blindness, then you probably don't see in black and white. So how can we train ourselves to see in black and white? Well, in order to see in black and white, we need color. We can't avoid it, it's all around us. And different hues, different shades will reflect a different amount of light. We need to recognize and understand how those different shades and hues will translate into different tones of grey. There's a book I picked up a few years ago at a second-hand shop. It only cost me a couple of dollars. And it really illustrated to me in a very short amount of time how to shift your perspective into black and white. And that book is called The Art of Black and White Photography by John Garrett, released in 1990. Although the book covers everything you need to know about photography from exposure to composition and way more, the most insight you'll get is in the first couple of pages. It is only by looking more closely at the world of colour all around us, which we take for granted most of the time, that we learn how to make good black and white pictures. An understanding of how black and white film depicts colour lies at the heart of successful photography in this medium. This first section of the book explains that relationship between colour and tone and introduces black and white photography as an alternative way of seeing reality, a medium with its own powerful means of expression. Now, I'm not going to read you this entire book, but these first couple of pages are what helped me to see in black and white. And if I was going to try and sum it up myself, I'd just be repeating what John Garrett has already said. So bear with me here. I'm just going to read you these next two pages, and that's it. Seeing in black and white. Black and white photography does not seek to depict reality with accuracy or even to imitate it, nor is it a substitute for colour. It is simply another way of interpreting the subject, another way of seeing. How do we learn to see the world of colour in black and white? That is, as tones. This skill is essential to getting the best from black and white photography. We must be able to judge whether, for example, an orange flower will stand out from the grass around it, or whether a pattern on a model's dress will make a strong composition in black and white, or prove distracting. Concentrate on the intensity of the colours rather than their hue. A good way to do this is to use the camera to meter the relative values of colours in a familiar scene such as your garden. Then, by shooting the same scene in both black and white and colour, you will confirm the different intensities of the colours and the tonal relationships that exist between them in black and white. You can reinforce what you learn in this way by adjusting your TV from colour to black and white and back again at frequent intervals, noting what happens to particular colours when they are rendered as tones. A weak black and white subject. Creative control in black and white photography demands, first of all, the ability to predict how colours will translate into tones, particularly how distinct from each other they will appear in the print. In the picture on the left above, the even lighting gives the red of the tomatoes and the green of the beans equal prominence, so they stand out against one another. Their vibrancy makes them a natural subject for treatment in colour. But, although the colours are complementary, when translated into black and white as shown in the picture on the right above, they are too close in tone to provide an interesting contrast. A good black and white subject. Like the colour picture on the opposite page, the study of 𝗰𝗵𝗲𝗺 is a good colour subject because of the limited number of colours and the strong contrast between them. But here the strong sidelight of the late afternoon has produced large areas of deep shadow in the clothing. It is this shadow that provides a strong contrast with the background in the black and white version below. However, the relatively well-lit, rust-coloured areas such as the shoulder of the tallest figure merge with the green background when reduced to tones. So as you can see, although it may look good in colour, it's those tones and tonal contrast that you need to be aware of. Even in that good example, you had the red shoulder and the blue background of the mountains, which worked really well in colour, but when reduced to tones, they had the same kind of intensity, so they blurred and mixed together. One thing I found with just reading those pages was that it made me want to try black and white. Even if it was just in my garden, it was to see if I could compose an interesting composition with lighting and intensity of colors to make a good picture. This book continues on, as I mentioned, to talk about pretty much everything about photography, from the types of photography to even printing and developing. So if that sounds like your thing, if you can find it, grab it. I'll leave a link below to the photographer's website as well. Hopefully that sheds some light on how you may want to approach black and white photography. If you've been wanting to get into it, this is definitely a good way to try. One way that I would definitely start off with is take photos in color. Load up a color roll or shoot on a digital camera, but shoot with the intention that it is black and white. Get your photos back, put them on the computer, edit them into black and white, and see how you went. That's probably the best way to learn. We all see in color, so it makes sense to take photos in color. And we can definitely practice enough to train ourselves to be able to see black and white images. We just need that color reference and understanding how those intensities of colors plays into black and white. And so I guess once you're confident enough, load up that black and white roll and shoot away.